President. Alex, what a surprise. I get to kill two for the price of one. It's a dream, Alex. You do anything you want in here. Haven't you figured that out yet?
The President of the United States finds that some strangers are trespassing in his own private nightmares in Dreamscape, one of the new movies we're going to be reviewing this week on At the Movies, the movie review program. And joining me here in the balcony, once again, Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. In addition to Dreamscape, we'll also be reviewing a very strange science fiction comedy called Buckaroo Bonzai, also a film of the Henry James novel, The Bostonians, starring Christopher Reeve and Vanessa Redgrave, and a new color and music-added version of Fritz Lang's 1926 silent epic science fiction film, Metropolis. But first, Roger begins with a jungle adventure called Sheena.
We've had a lot of bad movies this summer, but we haven't had as many totally ridiculous movies as we usually have, or at least that's what I thought until I saw Sheena, which is based on the old TV series, remember, with Irish McCallum as Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. The movie tells the story of a little blonde girl who grows up to rule an African tribe and speak the language of the elephants and talk to the zebras and make her own jungle clothing out of such crude and simple materials as you might find in a boutique in Malibu.
Right, North Beach Leather Company.
Then an American TV crew discovers Sheena and instantly takes her side during a period of revolution in the kingdom.
We're storytellers. With pictures, too. And baby, have we got a story here. I want you to take me to that Zambuli woman you busted out of jail.
The shaman. You want to see her?
Yeah, see, I know she didn't kill the king. Let me carry her own words back home with me, and I can prove it to the whole world.
You must think I'm a fool. Words are like the wind. They cannot be carried home.
They can.
You must think I'm a fool. Words are like the wind. They cannot be carried home.
Yeah, bugs me too. Listen, why don't you just take him to your shaman?
She's gone far ahead. You will have to take a long journey with me.
I'd love to.
He's a real ace investigative reporter for television. He never asks her a question like, Sheena, tell me, why are you the only member of your tribe who speaks with an American accent? Where did you learn to speak that way? That's Tanya Roberts as Sheena. She doesn't look like quite such an authentic jungle creature as Tarzan did at the beginning of the movie Greystoke, but maybe that's because her African Earth mother is played by Elizabeth of Toro, who is one of the most famous fashion models in the world. And I guess that's maybe they use clay and things to make all of their wonderful eye makeup and mascara and so forth. That was Ted Wass as the handsome anchorman who falls in love with her. And I know what my favorite moment in this movie is. There's no contest. It comes after the anchorman has met this incredibly beautiful and bizarre creature who's been living in the jungle and swinging from one tree to another and talking to the animals and communicating. She holds her hands like this and communicates by ESP with the elephants, you know. Then they come and do whatever she wants.
Like she's got a headache or something.
Right. So what does this guy say? Something like, teach me how to talk to the elephants? No, he says, what I love to do is take you to Wall Street and show you the World Trade Center while we both eat peanuts. This is a really savvy guy, and it's a really bad movie.
All right, that's your favorite worst moment in the movie. Here is mine. I mean, this is a dumb film, and that's okay, but it gets just too ridiculous when, in the climactic scene, they're up in an airplane, and it's a big battle. What comes to Sheena's rescue? An attack of killer flamingos. Weren't you just... I thought, no, they're not going to do this. They're not going to actually have the birds come in the cabin of the plane and attack, so you see long pink beaks attacking people. They did it. They actually did it. I was stunned.
I'll tell you something that amazed me even more, and that's the amount of nudity in this film.
Yes.
Now, this movie is PG, not PG-13.
Right.
PG, and it is the only, I think, PG movie in history that could play directly on the Playboy channel. We see more of Tanya Roberts in this picture than we saw of last month's Playmate. Coming up next at the movies, someone is trying to get inside the head of the President of the United States and kill him by invading his dreams.
Mr. President, listen to me. Your life is in danger. Bob Blair is trying to kill you.
Dreamscape is an awfully good idea for a movie. It's about a plot inside the government to use the ability to invade someone's dreams, actually jump inside their fantasy world and kill them in the dream, And as the old saying goes, if you die in your dreams, then you'll be dead in real life. That's a good idea for a clever little thriller. Unfortunately, Dreamscape treats that idea in a laughable way. For example, we meet a guy who has the power to get inside someone else's dreams, and at a dream research center, he enters the dream world of a frightened little boy to see if he can help the kid combat his nightmares.
Feel sleepy yet?
I guess. But
what?
I'll have a dream, Alex.
Yeah. You want to know a secret? I'm going to be there.
You are?
Yeah, I really am.
Okay. If you're gonna be there.
Got something else for you, too.
Thanks, Alex.
Buddy. Buddy, what are you doing?
Are you the babysitter, Alex?
Yeah, I'm the babysitter.
Because most of the time they just leave me here.
You don't have to be afraid.
You know the Snake Man?
The who?
The Snake Man.
Snake Man? What do you mean, like the boogeyman?
He's outside and he wants to come in and get me. The Snake Man.
Oh, hey. I'm not going to let him get you. Just let me see who it is, all right?
Please don't answer it.
It's probably not even him. See, there's nobody there.
Are you sure, Alex? He's always there.
Oh, yeah, he's there. That was the Snake Man. And when you see all of him, he looks like he was purchased in a dime store and made out of modeling clay. I was laughing at the screen when I saw the Snake Man, but that was only the beginning of my laughter, because later in the film, believe it or not, we get to see the President of the United States, played by Eddie Albert, fight the Snake Man himself. What a joke. There are other stupid dreams in Dreamscape, including a tacky one about a guy suspecting that his wife is cheating on him. Too bad there is so much trash in Dreamscape. It ruins a very good idea for a movie.
I don't think it does. In fact, I give this movie thumbs up. I kind of like that nightmare, and there's another nightmare that I like where they go down that zigzag staircase all the way down to the gloom below. Yeah, that was a fabulous scene. In fact, the art direction of the dreams in this movie is really interesting, and you can't tell me you were laughing when that arm came through the window. I bet you jumped out of your seat and you were scared.
I was laughing. No, I wasn't scared. But I was laughing. No, but I was laughing when I saw the full-figured Snake Man. Unfortunately, the film company is laughing too and afraid they wouldn't give us the clip to show us the Snake Man, and you know that too.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. What you're really saying is, since this is this kid's dream, you're saying that you don't like the kid's idea of what a Snake Man looks like. But obviously, a 5-year-old kid would think that a Snake Man looked like something that he would see in the toy department of a dime store, because that's his only exposure to Snake Man. So that it's absolutely realistic that the Snake Man would look like he came out of the dime store.
Only I'm not a 5-year-old kid, and I want to be scared, just like you said I should have been scared, and I'm not going to be scared by any clay model.
In any event, I think my point is a wonderful point.
Well, you usually do.
And I also think that the movie is a good movie, and I kind of
I'm surprised you haven't said case closed. You normally say that when you've made a point and I've made one, you want to ignore it. Case open.
Our next movie is named The Adventures of Buckaroo Bonzai, and I might as well say right at the beginning that I doubt if I understood this movie. It probably has the most confusing, disjointed plot of any film I've seen in a long time. But along with the confusion, there is a certain mad genius that stalks through this film. It's bad, but it never gives up. Buckaroo Bonzai centers around the premise that, you know, back in 1938 when Orson Welles staged his famous War of the Worlds radio broadcast and people all over the country thought that the nation really was being invaded by Martians, well, according to this movie, maybe that wasn't staged. Maybe the Martians really were invading.
This is clear. Look.
What's that? What do you got?
All these people applied for Social Security cards in the same town in New Jersey on the exact same date.
New Jersey?
46 Yo-Yo Dine employees, Grover's Mills, New Jersey, 11/1/38.
They all have the same first name. John.
Somebody's playing games here. This is statistically impossible.
I don't know. Wait a minute. November 1, October, 30 days have September, April, June, November. When October is done, all the rest have 31, October 31st. Halloween. Don't you get it? Orson Welles.
You mean the guy from the old wine commercials?
Halloween 1938, a War of the Worlds, that fake radio news broadcast that got everybody scared, thinking real-life Martians were landing in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. But then it all just turned out to be a hoax. So maybe it wasn't a hoax, or I mean, maybe it isn't a hoax.
That was Jeff Goldblum as the ace scientist there. The movie stars Peter Weller as the Buckaroo Bonzai, a young Japanese-American genius who is a brain surgeon, a racing car driver, and a rock singer, among many other things. And his mission in this movie, I guess, is to save the Earth and also to get some more gigs for his rock band. A lot of the individual moments in Buckaroo Bonzai are very funny, and the movie is filled with so many little jokes in the background that you probably have to watch it 2 or 3 times to figure them all out. But it's impossible to figure out where you stand with this movie. It's all over the map, and finally, I had no real idea who half the characters were or what they wanted or why I was supposed to be interested in them. So I have to give it, reluctantly, a thumbs down with admiration for its little flashes of genius in between.
And I liked it because of all of what it was trying to do and because there were a lot of jokes. You and I see so many outer space adventures or on this planet adventures that are so routine and so predictable, and all they're trying to do is dazzle us with the same old special effects that are 5 years old. To me, I just laughed a lot in this picture, and that was enough for me. I think this is a film that could get cult status. I think it's going to be thrown away by its film company, but I think that people ought to try and find this picture. I think they'll have a weird, funny time at the movies.
Well, didn't you feel, though, it would have been a lot better movie if there had been one clear line from beginning to end indicating to you who the various sides were, what they were doing, why they were there. But at the end, that chase sequence, when they're chasing each other all over and you have the monsters there, incidentally, the monsters who made the Snake Man look like a masterpiece.
Oh, no, they were good. I like their little pigskin heads or whatever they
Well, didn't you kind of wonder who they were, who was shooting whom, and what the whole...
The only thing that I couldn't figure out is who exactly was the character played by John Lithgow. That, because he may be the head bad guy. But other than that, and that is not a small fault. No. But other than that, I thought this film is a lot funnier, a lot more inventive, a lot fresher than most of the American movies we see.
Sorry.
Okay, coming up next at the movies, Christopher Reeve and Vanessa Redgrave battle for the love of the same innocent young woman.
You're meant for something different. You're meant for privacy. You're meant for love.
Our next film is based on the highly regarded Henry James novel, The Bostonians, which managed to skewer Boston society in the last part of the 19th century, portraying a world where selfishness and obsession often conflicted with new ideas about female emancipation. In the film version, Christopher Reeve and Vanessa Redgrave battle for the love of the same young woman, an innocent thing whose mind has been manipulated so she is now able to speak out on behalf of women's rights. Christopher Reeve plays a traditional Southern gentleman who wants to take her as a lover and wife. Vanessa Redgrave plays a dried-up spinster who may have suppressed her own sexual designs on the girl, but more important, she wants to use her in her pro-female and anti-male cause. Eventually, the girl becomes a wishbone between them, and in this scene, Reeve tries to force her hand, the girl's hand, telling her to forget Olive, the character played by Redgrave.
Olive wants us to leave.
Well, you tell her it's useless. I'll follow you anywhere you go.
If I ask you very nicely to go, to let me go, don't you see what you're doing to her?
Well, I'm not worried about Miss Olive. She's a fighting woman, and she's not giving me 1 inch of odds. Can't I make you see how much more natural it is, not to say agreeable, to give yourself to a man instead of to a movement of some morbid old maid?
Oh, no.
Sorry. You know, I'm going to have to be tremendously nice to you all the rest of our days to make up for all this. Poor Verena.
Don't you understand? It's not that he loves you, but that he hates our cause. He wants to prove a man only has to whistle for women, for you to come running. You're not even listening to me.
No, I am. I want you to say all this. I want to hear it. I want you to make me hate not him, but what I feel for him.
Don't let's talk. Come and sit here beside me.
Some very good performances in this film. Of course, with Reeve and Redgrave, we know we are watching fine actors perform. But with this Madeline Potter, she is excellent. I actually believed her character existed. Very good job. I think this is an excellent adaptation of the James novel, perfectly delineating not only a time and a place, but also a set of distinctive personalities who can't manage to be anything but themselves, no matter how enlightened the era might be. The Bostonians moves at a slow pace, but part of its message is that in so doing it reveals the exceedingly slow pace in which social change itself is accomplished. It's a fine film, and what a surprise it is to find it here at summertime.
I admire it very much too, and one of the things I liked about it is the way that it reflects Henry James's technique, which is to take all of these enormous sexual tensions which are way, way, way down below the surface in many of his characters, and which boil up mostly in dialogue. People talk and talk and talk because they don't really know how to take the next step. And then, of course, into the world comes this Christopher Reeve character who knows exactly what the next step should be and threatens the Vanessa Redgrave character's hold on this young girl. And in my way of looking at the film, my loyalties are really with Vanessa Redgrave. I felt sorry for her because she didn't fully understand her own motivations, and she didn't really have any weapon to face up against this really rather ordinary Southerner, except he's a good-looking guy, and it gets the young girls.
He's congruent with himself, which is part of what James is talking about. The other thing is the revelation to this girl of her problem, the way that everyone has been manipulating. When that happens in the movie, that was exciting. I mean, that you don't find that happening with a small character too often in the movies. It's
a good movie. Next at the movies, a legendary science fiction film returns with a new print and a rock and roll soundtrack.
Circles of the human chain, turning for the wheels of gain.
Our next movie, named Metropolis, was made by Fritz Lang in 1926 and is considered one of the greatest of all silent films. But like all silent films, it's rarely seen today, much outside of classrooms and film societies. And Giorgio Moroder, the composer of the music for movies like Cat People and Electric Dreams, wanted to do something about that. So he has produced a new version of Metropolis that includes some scenes that have been missing for years and also includes color tinting of the negative and a soundtrack with music on it by everybody from Pat Benatar to Adam Ant. The movie opens far in the future with a vision of slaves toiling beneath the surface of a great dictatorial city. The only friend of the workers is a revolutionary named Maria, and in this famous scene, an evil scientist programs a robot to look like Maria. That scene right there inspired the visual inspiration for a lot of those Frankenstein movies of the 1930s, the transformation scenes as the monster becomes alive. And Metropolis itself has a vision of a totalitarian future in which a giant city without a soul is inhabited by consumers on the upper levels and slaves in the factories below. This is one of the most exciting movies to watch that you're ever going to see, and the Giorgio Moroder soundtrack is a nice addition, I think. I think it works. The modern rock music sounds oddly appropriate when it's played under those visionary, futuristic images. Metropolis is still, and probably always will be, a great movie experience.
Certainly Metropolis is, and the addition of the color, tinting, and the music, when it's the synthesizer that he uses, that's great. But there are rock lyrics, about 10 songs. It's an only 87-minute movie, so every 8 minutes we get a song, and we don't need the lyrics to tell us what's going on in the movie. The movie is very clear about what it's doing, and the subtitles are great too. So this movie bugs me every 8 minutes, and that's why, although I love it, it could be so much better if they just give us music, no songs.
I didn't mind the lyrics. I was reminded of Pink Floyd, The Wall, which also has lyrics. And it seems to me that with rock music of this sort, you don't necessarily listen to every single word anyway. It's the mood, and the singer's voice becomes another instrument, and it seemed to me that it worked in connection with this film.
The instrument was loud enough for me to hear what they were singing. They were singing stupid things. But it's still a good movie, okay?
Well,
so much for Metropolis. Now to recap the main movies on this show. Both Roger and I laughed at Sheena, the jungle film featuring the attack of killer flamingos. We split on Dreamscape. Roger thought the basic idea triumphed over the embarrassing moments. I didn't. We split on Buckaroo Bonzai. I appreciated the outrageous humor. Roger thought it got lost in the endless action and confusing action. We both strongly admired the Bostonians with Christopher Reeve and Vanessa Redgrave, and we both give thumbs up to the new version of Metropolis, but Roger liked it a lot more than I did. I hated those songs.
That's it for this week. Next week at the movies, the doctors are in, as Gene and I give out free and unsolicited advice to some of our favorite actors whose careers seem to be a little misguided right now. And until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Pan American, whether it's business or pleasure or a little bit of both, across the country and around the world, Pan Am, you can't beat the experience. Goober's freshly roasted peanuts dipped in delicious milk chocolate. Enjoy America's favorite movie time candy at home or at the movies. Raisinets and snowcaps, too. Deep Shine Pledge makes a beautiful difference on all your wood furniture. Clearly the more beautiful shine. Deep Shine Pledge in the lemon pump spray.
Join Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel next time in a special program, If We Owned a Movie Theater, with scenes from some of their favorite films. That's next week at the movies.